Hello everybody, welcome to Dr. Whizzles. Today we're going to go over a series of how to draw different cartoon items. So there are a few important points I want you to remember before we start. First of all, it takes practice, so stick with it. If you really want to become better at drawing, then just like anyone else is good at drawing, you will have to put time into practicing your technique, holding the pencil steadily, and being able to draw the lines that you're dreaming of. Even shaping your dreams and your ability to visualize the lines you want to draw, that is a skill and that takes practice. That's a big part of drawing. Secondly, when you draw, it's important that you are in a state of mind where you feel comfortable and confident. You have nothing to lose, especially when you're practicing. All you want to do is put the pencil to the page and draw, and learn from your mistakes. Learn from the experience. And third, and most importantly, do not judge your completed work too harshly. When you draw or when you create any art, if you want to look at it critically from a standpoint of being constructive and learning what you can take out of it and what you can do better, that's great. But if you're going to look at it and feel discouraged and feel like you've let yourself down, or you're going to feel like the work that you've done is not good enough, this is not productive. Stick with it. Look at the work you do. Think of where your strokes and your lines could have been better. Think about where things could have been more proportional and where things came out really good. Give yourself some credit. And most of all, give yourself credit for trying, because that is the most important step. It's the most important among the first steps you need to take to become a great artist. Okay, everyone, let's get right into our first drawing. And for this one, I want to show everybody how to draw a dog. So normally I would always start with a pencil first, and you always want to do that and do it lightly so that you can kind of correct yourself if you need to. Although I wouldn't worry too much about erasing and perfection. Only on occasion you might find that you want to draw a dog. Only on occasion you might find that you want to erase or adjust a line or something. So we want to start with the rough sketch first. Now this is called outlining your drawing, and you just kind of get the general shape of what you're drawing, and then you'll fill in the details later. So for here, I just kind of want to get the general shape of the dog. Okay, so now that I have a general appearance of what I want my dog to look like, I can start filling it in a little more. And use your imagination, be creative. So when you darken your lines, you're basically just trying to imagine the picture of the dog that you want in your head. No exact terms, you just kind of want to get some lines out there. Now if you need a drawing aid or a picture in front of you to help you, that's all right. It definitely helps get the lines solidified in your head, and it gives you a guide to work off of. Even tracing can be beneficial, especially in the beginning. So if you need to do that, by all means, pull up a picture of your favorite animal, your favorite dog, and start to give yourself that little guidance to start to work with in the beginning. Now I like to always put a little shine. It makes the drawings look a little more pleasant to the eye. So whenever you have the opportunity, if you feel like you can add a little shine, just go for it. Add that shine and see if it doesn't spruce your work up a little bit. Like I said, the lines are up to you. You want to get your own lines going there. Now here's an example of erasing a little line. Just make it a little rounder there. Get the eyeballs in there. The eyeballs in here. Now if you ever need to just back away from your drawing for a sec, back away and take a look and think to yourself, okay, is there anything that doesn't look right to me before I continue to fill in more details? And so far it looks proportional. I guess I've got a little curvature here that I could have accentuated a little more if I want to. Now you can see my lines are already getting a little darker, so I don't want to give my work that much erased look. I just kind of want to get through it. And there's the pupil. I could definitely put a little sparkle there, maybe even a little sparkle there, and get the inner pupil. So this will be black, and then a color like blue or brown, and then this is white, and this is just sort of a white area around the eyes. You know how dogs have like fur color? So again, the blue area, the black area. I'm put a little circle here, a little circle there. Now those little circles are going to remain white, because when I'm done, it'll look like the eyes are sparkling. Let's see. I'm gonna actually complete these so that I know exactly what I'm coloring. Okay. Now little shadow areas or areas of light that I want to make like a little darker or a little lighter can give my work a great look. So I'm marking all my darkened areas. Some areas here, areas there. Okay, a little dark area here. Okay, so the collar. Now, don't hesitate to rotate your paper if and when you need to be able to give yourself an easier ability to complete long line strokes. That's an important part of this, I would say. Being able to create straight lines definitely helps. Okay, now imaginary. So that's the completion of that collar there. May even want to add a little pendant. There we go. I could add a little white area, and a little shine. Okay, so far so good. Now for the dog's legs, the body, you don't want to make him too thin. Well, at least I don't for this picture. Nor too thick. So, however I can kind of get away, whatever I can get away with here would be ideal. I can just kind of I should imagine that this line is going underneath the collar and continuing on downwards, and that's a little white part of his chest. And that's a continuation of his arm right there. I can also now you see I've gone further in than I would have wanted to with my initial outline. I'm just going to erase those outline lines that I made and push them back a little. I also want to clean up some of the lines I made in here unnecessarily earlier. Again, all part of the program. And once I erase a bunch of these lines that I'll no longer need, I can actually complete the drawing and start to color it in. Ooh. Watch your arms and be careful not to get your pencil smudges all around the page. I bent my corner a little there, so I want to be careful. There we go. It becomes hard to even see these lighter lines after a while, but if you really want to clean up your work, you may want to consider going back and cleaning it up a bit. Okay, so dog's body goes down, 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 curves out a little like that. Legs poke out. Tail starts further out, of course, now that I've limited my space. Give it a scruffy little tail there. Okay. Maybe even want to give it a little multi-texture there. And from over here, get ready to give the other paws a go. The paws can really make or break your picture, I'd say. Not that you can break your picture, of course, but can really give your picture an added luster, little effect, if you get it just right. Give your work that look as though you know what you're doing. And then here's the white center. So this angle's too high up here. I need this to angle further down here. So I'm gonna just erase that line. That way my drawing makes sense. There we go. And then for the other additional white portion, there. And I could even put a little shadowy area there. Okay, so now got more of my lines, more lines to erase. Might want to keep a big eraser handy, actually, if you want to really clean up your work. But this should suffice. Let's see how this looks. Now color is definitely going to give your work an added look. It just makes it more attractive and more appealing to the person looking at your work. I prefer always using crayon or color pencil. I don't like what markers do to my work. I feel like it gets rid of the details, and it's just the tips can be too broad, and sometimes when you don't color really well with a marker, it adds layers, and some areas are darker than others. You really have to be skilled, or you have to have a special set of markers to be able to color with a marker and still have your work look great. Another option, of course, is you can always scan your work into a computer and color it using a paint fill tool or gradient tools, and that would definitely give a very cool look to your work. Although when you scan in pencil, you tend to have to redraw it because pencils don't really look good when they're scanned. If you draw with a Sharpie, however, it does look good. The dog looks happy, I'd say. I think overall looks pretty good. I'm going to actually make some adjustments to my work. I feel like I can do that. There we go. And now I just want to kind of shade in some of the areas and the colors that I've already drawn here. I'm just marking down the areas that I know I'm going to shade with a darker color. So that's going to be dark, that's going to be dark, that's going to be dark, that's going to be dark. All these areas that I've marked off a little bit with my pencil are going to be dark to show that the light is hitting my work at a certain angle. And by doing that, it's going to give my work more of a 3D look and more of a multicolored professional look. So I think I'm just about ready to color my work. before I can call it complete. And I'll do that now. Now coloring can be tedious, and I'll probably fast forward through the coloring, but I think I will just explain first that when you're coloring, you really want to use gentle strokes with your color pencils. You want to sort of be gradual in how you fill in the colors. Okay, before I do that, actually, I'm going to use this marker to redraw all my important lines. Now again, in a sense, you are redrawing your work. You're not really tracing. You'll find that when you do this, you are redrawing. It is very difficult to trace your work exact, especially if you're doing it fast, like I am. You find yourself redreaming the lines, and find yourself wanting to add lines where there were no lines, or take away lines where there were lines. I'm going to be careful not to use the marker for my shading lines, because those are just going to be separated by color, not so much by marker strokes. Now I do like to rotate the page more so than I'm currently doing. Just gives me a better ability to make straighter lines and not have to redraw multiple lines. And you'll notice I'm just kind of picking my lines arbitrarily. There's no real order or system. Whenever I see a line I want to take on, I just do it. Let's see. That's right. I'm spinning my work, folks. Spinning, spinning, spinning. Yes, it helps. So all of you wondering, what is he doing, Daddy? Why is he spinning the page? Well, I'll tell you. It's because it makes it easier for your wrist and your palm to control the strokes. So when you're pushing the marker forward, there's less friction. It just kind of slides across the page a little more easily, so you don't get that wiggly line, that unsteady, shaky line, and that helps a lot. And those of you who love to draw know exactly what I'm talking about. And to those of you who are new, you'll find out. I won't go in here because these lines are too close together. Just finish the rest. If I go into the lines that are too close together, I may kind of ruin that area of the drawing. So I'm going to leave that area alone for now. I'm going to do the other areas. Here's the pendant. Now some of you might be wondering, why are you ruining your great pencil sketch with a marker? And sometimes I wonder the same thing. Why am I? But you know what? At least on camera and on the computer, it definitely makes a drawing easier to see, easier to look at. And a big part of being able to draw well is being able to do your lines in ink. If you cannot ink your work up, you will run into some problems, especially when it comes to drawing, my friends. So let's ink it up. Ink, ink, ink. Show some confidence. Throw those lines down. Let this drawing be destroyed if it must, but you will carry on, and you will draw, and you will show the world what you are made of with your super cool, great drawing techniques. Okay, almost there. Tail. Take charge of your lines. Don't wait for me to show you which lines to make. You make your own lines. Be okay with your line not being in the same exact spot where my line is. That's okay. That's part of the whole thing. In the end, your work is yours. You made it. Okay, here is the drawing so far, and I'm about to color it. Are you ready for some speed mode so you can see the coloring? Now, I could take my time to color it. I'm sure it'd be really soothing and relaxing for you just to watch, but let's stop it here. Okay, so here is my finished work. This is the dog we set out to draw, and I'm pleased with the finished result. I think it looks good. I think I put a lot of imagination and creativity and color into the work. I like how it turned out overall. Finished work that's completely colored and carefully done always looks great, no matter just how perfect your lines may be or how many small mistakes you might find throughout the page. If I did want to look at my work through a more critical lens and start to critique and judge my own artwork so that I can do better on the next round, I would start in a few places. First of all, I noticed that the colors I chose for the shading and the color of the rest of the dog are actually a little bit too far apart. I would have chose, going back, I would have chose two colors that are a little closer. You notice how this yellow is a lot lighter than this brown. So it almost makes the dog look as if it's a spotted or multicolored dog, which was not the intention. The intention is just sort of to lightly accent the color that's surrounding the dog with a slightly darker or slightly lighter color. Which is why you saw me during the coloring process go over these areas again with the lighter color to try to make them blend a little more, to look closer. Some more critiques I have of my work would be some of the lines do look shaky. I did mention to you that I rotate the page sometimes, but I don't think I did that during every point while making the drawing. I think some areas did come out looking not as precise, and I also have some pencil lines that you could still see underneath the marker drawings. That can be resolved next time, perhaps by just going straight to marker, or by being more careful when I use the marker to go over my pencil. Yet another strategy might be to use the eraser a little more diligently before starting to color, where I can erase the stray lines a little more thoroughly before starting the coloring process. Some more areas where I think I could improve my work on the next round would be the collar sort of looks like it's floating here over back behind the neck rather than resting on his body. So I would have tried to end it a little sooner or move the entire collar downwards and over a little bit. I think something about that looks strange to me. The eye looks a little strange in some areas. The circles around the eyes are not quite round enough, and the eye circles here that I went over using color pencils, maybe I could have in fact gone over them with the marker just to keep it looking a little more consistent. And I would say that is about it. I like the overall flow of the body and the lines of the legs and the tail. I think I did that well. I like the ear flow. I like the shape of the head. I like that everything looks symmetrical and flowing in the face. Nothing looks terribly awkward. It does look like he's genuinely smiling. Now you'll notice sometimes if an eye looks too big or too small, or the eyes don't look like they're looking in the same direction, you might get an awkward look in the face of your drawing, your caricature, or whatever you may be drawing. And that does happen a lot, and it really does take practice over time to sort of be able to see the entire drawing, sort of a bird's eye look while you're drawing. Sometimes when we're drawing an eye or a nose or a tongue, we get fixated, especially early on in our drawing practice cycles. We get fixated on that one segment that we forget to step back and look at it in relationship to the rest of the face or the rest of the drawing. And we find that when we step back and step away finally, everything looks sort of skewed and awkward. And if that's the case, Again, do not worry. That is merely a matter of practice and diligence, and over time you do tend to be able to look on a micro scale and look on a macro scale while you're doing the drawing. And I wouldn't even say that I have that down perfectly just yet, but I would say that having been through that a lot over the years with the constant attempts at drawing things, I have tended to notice that and to try to do a better job of it in the coming practice cycles. In fact, you may find that what I'm talking about also applies to the body. I'm sure if you look at your own work now, unless you're pretty well seasoned, you may find that there's some skewing somewhere on the body or tail, and not everything looks completely balanced. But either way, if you went through this drawing tutorial with me once, maybe twice, good for you. Congratulations, you made it through. Maybe more than once. Great job. Practicing is what gets you there. Thank you very much for joining me. I hope this has been fun and exciting and helpful. I hope you're proud of your work. I hope you're proud of your attempts. I hope you're going to keep at it. I hope you will keep working hard and being the best you can be. And I hope that your heart is filled with love and enjoyment in all the things that you do. Till next time, I'll see you guys on another one. Thank you.